up, guys? Welcome to the BFF Report. I'm your host, Mike B, aka Fony, and this week, know some of you guys were looking for the Secret World stuff. Fortunately, I had family in town. Sometimes family comes first. That's why I hate weekend betas. It just kind of sucks that way. So, unfortunately, I did not get a chance to play it again. I've already played it a couple times. I can actually form an opinion on it just based off the number of times I've already played it previously. I wouldn't be able to do any, footage or anything for that. So that kind of sucks. But I did ask for some suggestions on Twitter, and a lot of you guys actually hit me back with Conundrum, a game that was released this week that seems to be very interesting on the surface. All right, so this game is interesting, and be warned, I may make a few Portal references here and there, but before people start raging about how this isn't Portal, I know that, but hear me out. I mean, it's not like there's no good reason to make these comparisons. We have so many connections here. See, creator of Conundrum, Kim Swift, also happens to have made Portal. Both are first-person physics-based puzzle games. There's the all-seeing, humorously and constantly berating Big Brother character, a lovable and iconic pseudo-companion. Word on the street, there's even an over-the-top corny song at the end. So while it feels like I'm playing a Portal mod, which is kind of funny if you think about it, it does go above and beyond to add things that just would not exist in the Portal universe. So let's go ahead and just keep that in mind and talk a little bit about Conundrum. The story is simple. You're a 10-year-old boy who is dropped off at his uncle's house for the weekend. Oh, and the uncle also happens to be a socially handicapped multidimensional quantum physicist who manages to get trapped in what he calls a pocket dimension. His name is Uncle Fitz, and his voice may sound familiar to some of you.
Do me and yourself a favor.
What? What makes you think I'm either inclined or capable to terminate this encounter?
And for the rest of you,
give us our wings and horns back!
You'll get them back in good time. I simply took them to ensure there's no cheating.
I can't believe I looked that up. Now, as you'd expect in a physics-based puzzle game, you have physics-based puzzles. And the way it works is the same way we'd seen in some other games similar to this, where you go from one room or one stage to another. But what's great about Conundrum is that it doesn't BS you around with loading screens. It actually has these long hallways in between your stage you just completed and the stage you're going to, and that is where all the loading takes place. So in essence, as you're playing the game, it's very seamless, and I thought that was great. Yeah, there's a little bit of a frame rate drop in these hallways as it's loading the next sequence, but still, the fact that you can just continue going and you get some dialogue in between, it kind of adds to the fluidity of how the game is played. Now, as you'd expect, your character is the silent protagonist, but Uncle Fitz does not shut up. And the writing is kind of, it's sometimes it's funny, but I think it kind of just humors me because I picture Q from Star Trek saying these things. But the writing itself is just kind of mediocre. It's kind of funny. I would imagine if I was like, 10, I might get a little bit of a chuckle out of it. But taking that into account, and also the artistic style, and then even the difficulty of the puzzles, I've noticed that I was kind of just blown through the puzzles one after another. With virtually no stops. Occasionally you'll overlook something and you'll end up sitting there like an idiot for like 20 minutes and you're like, oh, I'm an idiot. I totally overlooked this one thing. That makes total sense. Okay, now we're moving on to the next level. But overall, I felt like I'm halfway through the game right now, and I do feel kind of like it's a little easy. So given all of these factors, I almost feel like the game is actually directed towards a more family-oriented game. Like maybe this is one of those games that you can, let's say as a parent, sit down and play with your kid. Because think about it, your character, when he dies, he doesn't go bleh. He doesn't like keel over and die. There's no blood. There are no characters in the game that are being violently handled by anything. There's all these crazy physics going on, but if you die, the screen just goes dark and then you start over at the beginning. But it all seems pretty clear this game was designed to be a family-oriented, Saturday morning cartoon, episodical style adventure game that you could have with your kids every Saturday, weekend morning, whatever. And you could just play this game, you get the enjoyments and the fulfillment of playing a video game, and your kid gets to sit there and beat on his controller that doesn't have any batteries in it, thinking that he's actually participating in the game, and everybody wins! See how I'm making an awesome dad? And as far as replayability is concerned, you can go back and go for a better time, go for fewer dimension shifts, go back and find all the items that are hidden throughout each puzzle. There are features in place that will entice you to go back to play all this stuff again. All right, so I just mentioned dimensional shifts, and if you guys have not played this game or not been watching maybe the video that I'm showing you, you guys are probably like, what? I don't understand, what is this? Well, you have what's called an interdimensional shift device in the form of a glove that you're wearing on your hand, because I guess that's what you do with them. And you can use this item to change the dimension that you're in. You will remain the constant no matter which dimension that you're sitting in, so you don't have to worry about going into another dimension and running into your former self and then not occupying the same space at the same time like Time Cop turning into a big blob of something on the ground. That's not an issue here. And each dimension has its own physics in place. So let's say you have a safe that you need to move from point A to point B to continue on, but it's too heavy for a 10-year-old boy to move, so what do? You switch over to the fluffy dimension where everything's light and fluffy and you can pick it right up and you can throw it across the room and then you can move on. Or let's say you have a platform trigger that you need to put some weight on, but all you have is cardboard boxes. Well, guess what? There's the heavy dimension. You can put the cardboard box on top of the trigger and then you switch over to the heavy dimension and then the weight of the cardboard box will push itself downward. The heavy dimension also increases the density of all the items in that shift. So if you take an item and you throw it in front of one of these giant laser beams, it will stop it indefinitely so you can move from point A to point B. As seen here, I'm taking a couch and I'm moving from point A to point B again, and every time I drop it, I can turn it into the giant steel couch, block the lasers, switch over to the fluffy side, pick it up, move it some more, and then drop it again when I need to until I reach my destination. So with all the Portal versus Quantum Conundrum type comparisons, one thing I can say is that all of the added interactions with the environment that you have in Quantum Conundrum definitely puts it a step above Portal. In Portal, you have a couple of different types of goo that you can put on the ground, then you have portals, and that's pretty much it. That being said, I will say that anybody that's played Portal 2 co-op is probably pretty spoiled by that kind of experience, and not seeing it in Quantum Conundrum is a little bit displeasing. However, the game is $15. Yes, the price point, in my opinion, does play at least a small part in how much I enjoy a game, because there's always that in the back of your mind. It's like, wow, I paid $60 for this, I paid $60 for this, and that's all you're thinking of the entire time you're playing a game. It's like, holy crap, was that enjoyable for $60? $15? That's a little bit different. Now, they do have the $20 season pass thing on Valve, which I do not appreciate at all. It's like, okay, you get the next 2 DLCs plus the soundtrack for an extra $5. Yay, right? Well, why don't you just give me that in the first place and maybe stop jerking me around, just make the game $20 to begin with. But that's a subject for a whole nother 45-minute rant video. We're not gonna do that right now. But sitting at the $15 price point puts it right in range with lots of other games that you throw money at and maybe you don't necessarily play again. I have lots of games that I've thrown $15 at and I don't play again. At the same time, I have games that I've thrown $15 at and I cannot stop playing them. So that brings us back to the game. Is the game itself worth $15? That's really hard to quantify because it's a game that has plenty of character. It has some replay value. It is right in line with other games that we've played that we all have enjoyed. So to me, a price point of $15, kind of like Crater, the game I reviewed, was it last week before that? That game was also $15, and I felt it was worth it because there was plenty of content there to justify the $15 price point. So using that same logic, I will say, yeah, there's plenty of content here just in this one $15 installment, not including the next 2 DLCs that are clearly already planned, already developed, ready to go, to justify a $15 price point. But do I think the game's amazing? Not really. I think the game is fun. I think it's okay, but it's not blowing my socks off. I saw a bunch of 10 out of 10 reviews, which is great. Maybe this tickled their fancy. That's fantastic. Didn't quite tickle mine as much as I'd hoped it would, especially since it had Q. I mean, come on, everything in life could use more Q. But I don't quite have the urge to go back and continue my adventures and replaying the entire game again, like I normally get with puzzle type games. Usually I'm challenged and I feel like, I want to go back, I want to play it again. I don't quite have that here. I just do not. But at the risk of repeating myself, I will say that what I've gotten out of the game so far has been worth the $15. I do enjoy the experience that I've had so far. I just don't feel like continuing to replay and do all that stuff again. I feel like it's done, it's over, I can move on. And I don't feel like I wasted my money. Now that being said, I appreciate that they made this game $15, it being Squeenix and all, and I hope to see more games in the future embracing this and stop being dicks charging us $60 for a stupid game that only lasts for like 3 hours. Because let's be honest here, I've already gotten considerably more than 3 hours of the gameplay out of this, which is more than I can say about, Halo 3 at a quarter the cost. That's awesome, and pretty much everybody should start doing that.
You know what I miss? Guitars.
Alright, so there you go. Obviously, I take price point into consideration whenever I buy any game. I don't see who wouldn't. I can't quite fathom anybody who would just be like, oh, I just throw money around like it's no big deal. Oh, money, yay, money, yay, money, yay. Like, I just can't see that being a thing that people would do. Now, that being said, again, I think the game's all right. I think it's worth the $15 that I threw at it. I got my money's worth out of it. But I want to know what you guys think. If you guys who've played it, a lot of people are really, really into this game. I got lots of positive review feedback from a lot of people. I've also seen the reviews floating around the net. But you guys want to know what you guys think on the comments below. Let me know on Facebook.com/AKMikeB, Twitter.com/AKMikeB, and of course, anywhere you could throw me some words. Have yourselves a nice week, and I will see you guys later. Bye.